During all the furor about the stage production of Rita, Sue and Bob 2 being cancelled and then rapidly reinstated at the Royal Court Theatre, it became apparent that some people didn't find the 1987 film very funny at all. Which struck me as funny, peculiar, because I thought it was hilarious. Though the subject matter isn't a married older man begins a torrid and seedy sexual affair with two schoolgirls from a deprived and depressed Bradford council estate, the situations are. There's a certain kind of narrative that seems bleak if you're looking at it from above but is funny if you're in it. But then, maybe you have to be in a special place to see the humor, down there with the people in those situations. Maybe there's a certain kind of narrative that seems bleak and hopeless if you're looking at it from above but which is funny if you're in it and among it. As Ted Bovis was wont to say to Spike in Hi-de-Hi, the first rule of comedy is reality. Things are funny if they are true, if we can relate to them. And for me, growing up in a working-class household in the North, Rita, Sue and Bob 2 was both true and funny. It wasn't alone as a portrayal of working-class life that was only funny because it spoke to those who got the joke. Take Boys from the Black Stuff, Alan Bleasdale's 1982 TV series about the fortunes and misfortunes of a group of unemployed asphalt layers in Liverpool. The standout performance was from Bernard Hill, as Yasser Hughes. Yasser has been emasculated by joblessness, his wife leaves him, and he is constantly threatened by social services, who want to take his children away. He slides into a nervous breakdown, attempts suicide and is given to violent outbursts in the form of savage headbutts. There was nothing funny about Yasser, or his situation. As a 12-year-old watching that, I knew people like Yasser. Unemployment was rampant in my corner of Lancashire, my dad was laid off just before one Christmas. And yet we left especially hard when, on the brink of despair, Yasser goes into the confessional at his local church to finally overcome his masculinity and seek help. He swallows his pride and tells the priest that he's desperate. The priest, bored, mischievous, intellectually superior, perhaps encourages Yasser to call him by his name, Daniel Thomas. Yasser does so, and with prompting for yet further familiarity, repeats his anguished plea, shortening the priest's name. When Yasser realizes that he's been coaxed into saying "I'm desperate, Dan," he delivers a solid forward to the confessional box. When we realized what he'd said, we laughed like drains. Were we laughing at Yasser? No, because that would have been laughing at ourselves. We were laughing at the situation, at things we could all recognize, that many around us had lived through. Perhaps someone far away to the south, in a bigger house, with a secure job, might not have laughed at Yasser. They might have found it too unutterably bleak to even watch. But we laughed, because otherwise we'd cry, and that wouldn't have got anybody anywhere, would it? Perhaps a little later, my English class studied A Kestrel for a Knave, by Barry Hines, and we watched Ken Loach's 1969 film version,